This video is to address the Andrew Tate video that I did in response to the Patrick Bet David podcast video I did yesterday. I'm not an enemy of Andrew Tate. I'm not trying to call him out as a scammer. And I had a lot of people sort of commenting that I was jealous of Andrew Tate, that I was an empty vessel, that, you know, basically that I was a scammer because basically I kind of pointed out different things that he had said in the past. To update you, you know, there's a video on Twitter of him saying, it's about a 3-minute video and stuff, and I'll link it in the description below, and also probably as the first comment and stuff, and you could just go ahead and just watch the video yourself. That essentially the majority of the way he made his money was with the webcamming service. They were telling these guys that these girls were going to fly out and see these different guys in places like Russia or whatever, and you know, essentially they had no means to, you know, that they didn't actually intend on going and seeing those guys. It was all this fraudulent thing, and the guys would send, you know, $10,000. This is in his words. The guys would send $10,000 for a visa or whatever, because the girl was going to fly out to see the guy, and she would make up some kind of BS excuse, had no intention of actually going and seeing him. And basically Andrew Tate and his brother were taking half the profits, and they were acting like it was millions of dollars a month, you know. And so again, that's a scam. That's fraud. That I don't need to tell you guys that. It's just like these ICOs in the cryptocurrency space that, you know, would say they were going to do something and they wouldn't put anything together, and it was just completely fraud, and they never made good on the promise and everything. So in the same regard that I wouldn't do that, and I never have done that, I'm not going to sit there and dupe somebody online and, you know, basically try to, you know, extract money out of someone, get them to send $10,000 under the premise that some girl's going to fly to them or something like that to go visit them, and then not deliver on the promise. Would you do that? I would say the likelihood is no. So again, I think as far as that goes, he was saying that was kind of 10 years ago, his webcam related business. And again, the webcam thing is not the fraud necessarily. Okay, these girls are on the webcam, they're entertaining these guys, whatever. I wouldn't pay for that personally. I wouldn't, but I don't think it should be illegal. I don't think things like, you know, webcamming or strip clubs or OnlyFans or these kind of things, I don't think it should be like illegal or anything. And it's not illegal, it's entertainment or whatever. And guys can spend their money on it if they want, whatever. But at the point that you're telling somebody that, okay, you know, send $10,000, you know, so that I can get this visa taken care of and do this and that, and I'm going to fly out there, but you already know that they're not going to go out there. That's fraud. That's not a business. That's fraud. That's a scam. And so I was just pointing that out. Now, again, 95% of what Andrew Tate says I believe to be true, and I agree with him on about 95% of the stuff that he puts out there. And I like a lot of his posts over time, or little reels that have been done where he's saying something, and he's very true. Like, a lot of this stuff is good advice. Men should build themselves up. It is going to be very hard for an average man, you know, in this world today. We're so globalized. We have obviously the threat from AI, and then, you know, the whoflation situation is real. Women at this point in time have access to obviously a global market, you know, so they're getting interest from guys from around the world and everything, and that's your competition. So it is what it is. We're all dealing with it, and I think that, you know, it is true. You can either decide to be that upper 5 or 10 percentile of men that's going to have some sort of traction, or you're going to fall to the lower 90%, and you're either going to get very marginal scraps or you're going to get nothing. And you know, I've seen this firsthand. You know, I know the situation out there. Now, again, to address some of the comments and everything, you can watch the video on Twitter. It's a 3-minute video, and he spells out what he was doing. They were conning these guys, scamming them, and it's a fraud. Now, you know, statutes of limitations and everything, if this thing was 10 years ago, you know, as far as a civil proceeding or something like that, or could you come back and say, well, okay, it's criminal charges because you defrauded these guys? The victims probably didn't come forward. They were probably embarrassed. If it was like these rich kind of billionaire type guys, it's hard to say who it was. If it was regular guys or if it was, super rich guys and they were kind of tossing money around like that. Not really sure. Either way, it doesn't matter if the person had a lot of money or a little bit of money, it's still a fraud. And at the end of the day, maybe this is the way Andrew Tate is going to make up for some of that fraud. It's like a lot of these religious people, if they've sinned or whatever, they'll they found God in prison. They were in San Quentin and they found God and now they're going to make good on that. And they've, turned a new leaf and everything, and they're a good person now, yada, yada, yada. That's their game. So at the end of the point, is that part of Andrew Tate's, is that part of his time, that he's out here fighting the Matrix? He's out here fighting these agents, man. So we do need someone to speak up against a lot of this BS. He's obviously partially, sacrificed his freedom. Obviously, he could have laid low, and a lot of this stuff would have probably been swept under the table and stuff, but now they're looking for issues to bring up. They're looking for something to stick to him. I don't know what should happen to him. I don't know the whole kind of scope of everything that happened. I don't think that he probably did the human trafficking or that kind of charge. It sounds like that's just sort of kind of over embellished with the human trafficking, and it seems like these women have not came out and said that. Now, did he monetarily defraud guys? Yes. And how is that going to fall on him? I really don't know. At the end of the day, he does say a lot of good things. The interview was a great interview. I like a lot of his content. I'm not an enemy of him, and I'm not sitting there trying to say no fair, he's a scammer, and I'm jealous of him or something like that. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, someone of his age, to make it himself and, have 23 different, supercars and all that kind of stuff and be able to live the lifestyle that he's lived and stuff like that, that would be very, very, very difficult under honest means. I know. I'm driving a Bentley right now. So, again, a guy like Andrew Tate isn't going to look at someone like me and look at what I have to say about cryptocurrencies and, look at the amount of, guys, you can check the gram. At Brian Phobos, check the gram. I got receipts, stacked on receipts, stacked on receipts. For someone to be able to lift the amount of weight that I've lifted, you have to know how to train. This is not drug related. These are natural gains over time. I've never taken PEDs. Now, has Andrew Tate taken PEDs? It's really hard saying. He said he wouldn't fight Jake Paul because he said that Jake Paul's on steroids. So whether Tate has naturally developed his athleticism, I don't really know. I really can't say for sure on that. If he's been dishonest with kind of the money and defrauding these guys, I wouldn't hold it against him, or I wouldn't put my money on the fact that he hasn't taken some kind of PED at some point. I really don't know. I don't know that. I have not, and you're seeing natural gains, natural physique, and again, are there other guys who lift more weight or can jump higher or this or that? Yes, there are. But again, is it natural or not? Who knows? At the end of the day, a guy like Andrew Tate isn't going to sit there and look at my abilities and say, oh, this guy's an empty vessel or he's kind of a nobody, after hearing what I have to say about cryptocurrencies. Who told you guys about FTX and then it was going to collapse? Get your money out before it happened. Not the SEC. I did. The latest play we were talking about a lot was Litecoin. And I said, we're going to have 2 weeks ago. Volumes are low. This does not look right. Start to feather out of this thing. Restack later. Get out. What happened? It's fallen another 20%. You guys can check these videos. You can go down through. You can check all this stuff. Who was showing you what I was purchasing? Late 28, late 2019. Me. You saw some of the stuff I was stacking. That wasn't everything I bought. those were some indicators of what I was doing. Not that you should do it. You know, you guys can listen to the stuff. And, you know, the real ones that have been following me for a while, they know that I'm not just full of like empty garbage. They know I'm not selling, you know, my followers down a river kind of thing. They know that I'm giving sound advice, and that, you know, this is valuable advice, very valuable advice. So at the end of the day, you know, some of the kind of anonymous accounts kind of attacking me, saying that empty vessel, this, that, and the other. Now, what do I respect Andrew Tate on? First and foremost, even when they tried to stomp him out, his content did not go away. I thought it was very interesting. You see these different accounts popping up on YouTube, being, you know, Matrix Liberator, you know, different things like that, and it was getting a lot of thumbs up, I was thumbs up that stuff too, because the way it was like, you know, he's like in prison, we don't know the circumstances, you know, but it's like, okay, what did he say in some of the quotes, or what was some of the content he put out? It was good, sound advice. So I do respect him for that. They couldn't get rid of his message. Even when he was locked up. So he had the team out there deploying content, putting out content. Another thing I respect him on, it's very hard to put yourself out there. You know, that is not an easy thing to do. A lot of people shy away from that. And at the end of the day, he's going to take the heat for it. And, you know, it's going to be a lot of heat, man. They're going to be digging into him, looking for something. That's very hard to do. So I do respect him on that. I do respect him on his ability to fight. I'm not going to sit there and challenge him to a kickboxing match because I have not trained for that. He's trained for decades. He knows how to fight. It wouldn't make sense for me to fight him on that playing field. Now, could I maybe strike him out? You know, I'd be better at baseball than him if he never played. You know, sure. Could I beat him at basketball? Possibly. Maybe he's never played basketball, so I might be able to beat him at basketball. This and that. Can I lift more weight than him in certain lifts? Possibly. The guy's obviously athletic. You know, he was fighting. You know, 6'3", about 225. Got a couple inches on me, and you know, been at similar weights. Depends what I'm doing. If I'm cutting, this and that. A guy like Andrew obviously knows how to train, as do I. But obviously he's training for different sports, this and that. So you got to respect his ability to fight. It's not easy to take a punch to the face or a kick to the ribs and keep going and keeping that position. I've known several UFC fighters, MMA guys, and you know, you can get badly injured, and it's, you know, it's very, very tough to keep your composure and stuff in that moment. So much respect. I've always liked, you know, the combat sports, and have a lot of respect for them and all that kind of stuff like that. That being said, I just wanted to put that out there. It's not that I'm trying to expose him per se, or try to like get him in trouble or something. He's already in trouble, guys. He already said this stuff. You can click on the Twitter thing and formulate your own opinion. And that's the one thing I want to finalize this video with, is that you know, you shouldn't blindly just follow anybody. Some of these people, you're being just as much as of an NPC, non-playable character, as a lot of these kind of woke agenda type people are that he's fighting against. You don't want to just be the opposite of that. You know, it's like, and I would say with the Trump situation, you know, is Trump, you know, it's one thing Patrick Bet-David said, is Trump perfect? No, but sure as hell is better than Biden. And I think that is very, very obvious, and it should be very obvious to every single person, even the people who voted for Biden. You know, so in that regard, you know, he's fighting that agenda. You know, I'm all for that. You know, fight away. And you shouldn't blindly just follow anybody. You know, it's like, I don't like everything about Trump. I definitely don't like everything about Trump. Certain things that he pushed. You know, and I mentioned Ben Shapiro this last time. It'd be nice to see a conversation or a debate or whatever with Ben Shapiro and Andrew Tate, because they're so articulate, well-spoken, quick-witted, all those things. And, You know, I don't agree with everything Ben Shapiro says. Ben Shapiro was pushing the vaccine, you know, very hard at first and almost was kind of shaming people for not going and getting the vaccine. And I haven't forgotten that, and you shouldn't either. And at the end of the day, I don't know if he ever backpedaled from that or apologized, but regardless, it is what it is. I do respect a lot of the content that Andrew Tate is putting out. I do respect kind of the movement and the community, because there has to be this battle back to something that actually kind of makes sense and is the natural order of things. We're way out of balance right now, and you know, you need other things to counteract that. All the Fed printing, what do you need? You need crypto. All this other woke stuff, all this crazy stuff, you know, the Fruit Loops and the, you know, and the Transformers out there. What do you have to to counteract that? Good family values. You know, hopefully somebody can find, you know, a decent woman out there or whatever and have a family. You know, it's becoming harder and harder and stuff like that. That's when you need to counteract that. And I do think Andrew Tate is obviously pushing, you know, the premise of families and strong masculine male role models, and all those things are positive in my mind. So anyway, guys, that's the video. Just wanted to get that out there. Follow me on all social media at Brian Phobos, YouTube, Instagram, Steam It, Hive, DTube, subscribe.